Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Running the Bases. We are here. Marco is already giving me a funny face because I didn't say podcast. Wow.
Or show, so I was just hoping what it was. But anyways, go
Running
ahead.
the Bases. So we are actually live right now on YouTube. We are live on YouTube for this amazing stream. I'm going to get this shared out. We're going to try and share this out a little bit so that we get people in here to watch because I want to see how many people
live comments.
I do. I want to see some live comments. I want to get some people in here.
I want
so
someone
that
to say something about how bad the Tigers are.
You know,
bro. Here's what's going to happen.
Not everybody's going to be.
We already have the bet going.
Exactly. But
what's the YouTube channel actually? So I could post it too.
Running the Bases podcast. Wow, someone's really been doing their research on the channel. Thankfully, there's nobody here to watch at the moment for us to be having to worry about talking right now. But I am super excited to be here because this is going to be an amazing episode today. We're going to be discussing opt-outs and the Yasiel Puig signing. So some big things are definitely taking place in the baseball world. But before we get into that, is there anybody who anyone wants to say anything while I get sharing on this?
Actually, yes, there is something that I think everyone should know. Nick and I have a bet. We will be talking about it throughout the progress of the entire show, throughout the season. We have a $50 bet on the Royals and the Tigers. Whoever has the better record, it wins $50. As is evident, I am supporting the Royals. Nick is supporting the trash Tigers.
Okay, for the record, we do not support sports betting on this podcast. This is a friendly.
Thank you for saying that, Michael, because sports betting is not my thing.
This is strictly between me and him.
This is a friendly bet.
Okay.
Well, it won't get friendly down the stretch.
Oh.
Or when we bet each other.
For now, it's friendly.
Absolutely.
Barely.
Nikash trying to shoot some fire, you know.
Oh yeah, we have one viewer right now. I don't know who that may be.
Is it your girlfriend, Michael?
No, she is at work, so I can't tell you. But we are very excited to be here. It is going to be the beginning of a nice stretch that we're going to be doing where we are going to be consistently posting weekly, doing live streams now weekly, really throughout the rest of the season. Obviously, once we get back to podcast form, this might not be so possible, but I do have a little bit of an idea for when we do that podcast, when we're back live on radio. So we'll have to wait and see about that because we might be able to make this work while we're doing the live radio show at the same time, but we'll have to figure that out once we cross that bridge. But we've got a lot to cover.
Before we run.
Well, yes, no, I agree, but thankfully we have plenty of time right now to get used to this. Again, thank you, Marco, for giving me this suggestion. It is definitely really, really exciting. But before we get into it, obviously it is a big thing right now going on with the Yasiel Puig signing. That is the biggest thing right now in baseball that has happened in the last day. With Yasiel Puig, the last big name on the market has finally been signed to a team. The Atlanta Braves picked him up yesterday. I don't even know the deal. I don't know years or money. I just know that the Braves signed him. I don't think we've seen any numbers on it yet. But so I was surprised that the Braves kind of just snatched him up because everyone was talking about, the Orioles. The Orioles are going to come in. They're going to pick up Puig, and then they're going to have this big bat in their outfield. But now, obviously, we're going to talk about the opt-outs, but there was a big Braves player who opted out, and then Yasiel Puig is now going to be taking his place. So I want to hear your guys' response to this.
Whoever wants to go first, I can go first.
We'll do whatever we want.
You're the most excited one to talk about Puig, so go ahead, Ryan.
I think it's a terrific signing because they lost out on Markakis, who opted out, which we'll get into later. But it brings a big bat to the lineup that they lost to Markakis. And honestly, he might not even play in the outfield because of universal DH. He could play a lot of DH this year, and that could really fit him very well. I think the Braves made a terrific call going out and replacing Markakis with Puig. Yes, they still lose that left-handed bat of Markakis, but they still get a power hitter and a solid hitter in Puig, who also has a cannon for an arm in the outfield.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know why he was still on the market, and the fact that it came at a perfect time when Nick Markakis, one of their best hitters last year, decided to opt out. They got the best available at that point and at that position, and they got Puig, and like Ryan said, they could fit him in different places. He'll play outfield. He'll play DH, which I think is what he did a lot in Cleveland. And I just think overall it's just a great setting for an NL East contender.
I agree completely with both of you guys. I really think, like me, knowing how good of a player he is. Obviously, when he came in first in the league, he just took over the league by storm of how great of a player he is. Yes, he had like a roller coaster couple seasons after that. But the thing about Yasiel Puig, I think it's a really great story for him because he went from being in one of the biggest clubs, biggest teams in the league, in the Dodgers, went to go play for the Indians, and they went to go play for the Reds. And after that Reds stretch, they were like, you know what, he's done. No one big is going to sign him. But he's still under 30 years old. He still has a lot of talent and a lot of time to still keep playing baseball. And like you guys said, he can throw anyone out from the outfield. He has this great arm. He can throw someone out at first, second, third, and even home. You know, he just has that great of an arm. And when he's red hot at the plate, he can really hit the ball and square it up. So the good thing about Puig is that you can use him on both offense and defense. If you just want his bat, he'll deliver, especially on a team that's going to be a contender for the title this year, and especially had such a competitive outfield and just the roster in general. It's a really good fit for Puig because he likes that competition to make him a better person. So, and even like when he had that competition when he first came into the league with Matt Kemp, you could tell that people were leaning towards Puig because of that fire, that adrenaline he had. So basically, when you have someone like Ronald Acuna Jr. on the squad, it's going to motivate him to be even a better baseball player. That's good for him.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Braves. Now look at their outfield. You have Ozuna, Acuna, and Puig. That is a terrific hitting outfield. And then you've got Ronald Acuna, who I believe is a mini Trout. I really like Acuna. I think that the Braves are the best team in the NL East. I think they're going to be a true title contender. I think the main rival for the Dodgers this year will be the Braves. So I expect a lot out of them. But think about this. Puig, you haven't seen the best of him yet because he has been batted around, yet he hasn't been stable in a place that has given him a full chance. The Dodgers gave up on him. The Reds gave up on him. And he didn't really be able to set his feet and with Cleveland because he was there for only the second half. So this is really his chance to, even though it's a shorter season, he has a chance to really make a difference this year.
Yeah, and I think this is a big opportunity for Yasiel Puig to really get himself back to the form that people think that he should be. I mean, this is a guy who was once, when he started off back in 2012, he was quite possibly one of the biggest players in the game when he was with the Dodgers. And I remember when he first came up, everyone was all over saying, oh my God, Yasiel Puig, this guy is amazing. He came onto the scene. That was the same year that Will Myers did the same thing when both of them came up and they were destroying the game of baseball. These two young guys, AL East and NL West, just coming out here tearing it up. And Yasiel Puig never really lived up to that season in the years prior. And I think everybody was really disappointed to see that. And everybody was really, really hoping that he would be that player again. And I think we saw a little bit of that in some of his later years with the Dodgers, but he really hasn't ever reached that first year form. And I think that this is a good opportunity for him in a 60-game season to really just get out there and tear it up and just try and prove himself again.
Yeah, and especially how you said, Ryan, how they have just a stacked outfield. That's just such a big power hitting outfield now. Marcell Ozuna, what he had in Miami, and also what he had with the Cardinals. And then you have Acuna Jr., who still has a lot of his career yet to be played, and he had a great year last year. And you add Yasiel Puig, it's a dangerous outfield, and like I really think that the Braves are no one to mess with. And at the same time, you still have Dansby Swanson over at shortstop, and you have Freddie Freeman at first. Both players can hit the ball really, really good. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Braves become one of the most power hitting, home run hitting teams this season in the MLB, without a doubt.
Also, even though they lost out on Donaldson, they still have Austin Riley, who's probably going to move into third. He proved that he can hit the ball really well and be a solid piece before he got injured last year. So the Braves, I think their biggest question is pitching, but they've got some pieces there. So I expect a lot out of them this year.
Ryan, turn off your phone.
Gosh.
It's my computer.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
Yeah.
let's find a way to turn it off. Someone's a popular boy. But
I don't know how to turn it off.
If you go, I'm sure there's a way, go into settings and then just go to audio. But The other thing that I saw with opt-outs is that we already had Nick Markakis opt out from the Braves. And another thing that I saw, because we saw Jordan Hicks opt out, we're going to get more into opt-outs in depth in a little bit, but we saw Jordan Hicks opt out because he has a pre-existing condition, which is type 1 diabetes. There's another player on the Braves, Adam Duvall, who also has the same condition. So you might see Adam Duvall also back out of the season, which is a bat that underwhelming last year, but really could be Adam Duvall was once one of the most powerful hitters in the game when he was really good. So if he could, you never know what kind of influence that bat could be missing in that lineup in case he ends up opting out of the season. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But the Braves right now, I think that they did lose some big players, but I think that getting Yasiel Puig is a very big deal that could possibly keep their NL East title really in their hands. But we'll have to wait and see as we go along. This is going to be an interesting season. A lot of really big factors play in. So the next thing I want to discuss here, which is also in the title of the video, is the opt-outs for this season. We do have a lot of opt-outs already, not as many as I really thought that there would be, but in this episode, we're just going to cover everyone that's opted out so far because, like I said, we are going to be covering stuff every week. Next week is going to be our final podcast before the season starts. That's exciting. We're going to be getting into the
predictions.
What'd you say?
Go back over predictions.
We could if we want. I also don't remember if I wrote down our predictions, all of them, but we could. We can absolutely.
So your predictions were Mets win every single award, including the World Series.
That was your prediction.
Yeah. Actually, no. I had the Astros beating us. No, I didn't. Never mind. I think I had the Mets winning the World Series.
Oh my God!
You had the Mets winning it all.
That's crazy.
I think I might have. Yeah.
Okay. That's the only hope he has when he makes a statement like that. That's the only hope he has.
It's a very good point. He's got a very good point. But I'm just excited for this season to start. And with all these opt-outs that are coming out right now, there's some big names and there are some names that might not necessarily make a difference. But for some of these teams, these names might end up being the difference in their season. I mean, we spoke about it last time we were here that a 60-game season, all you need is one little stretch. And all you need, it could be something as simple as for the Braves right away, the first team we're going to discuss. Eric Young is one of their coaches. It could be something as simple as, I believe he's their first base coach. He makes a silly decision. The new first base coach makes a silly decision, costs them a run. That could be one game that ends their season. So you never know what can happen in this kind of atmosphere. We've never done it before. Unprecedented is really going to be the theme of this season. And I think that is a really big thing to keep in mind, that we have never been in this territory before. And right off the bat, you've got the Braves with Eric Young, who's opting out. Felix Hernandez, the guy that they picked up in this offseason, the King Felix. Well, I was really excited to see him play, honestly, and I would have seen him play a lot with the Mets, obviously, because the Mets will be playing the Braves. And I think that it's too bad for a guy like Felix, he's really reached the end of his career. I mean, he's getting towards the end, and this makes me wonder, maybe this is it for him. Maybe he hangs it up after this year. Maybe he if he doesn't get a contract next year at least, because then this way, I still think that he should have retired after the Mariners weren't bringing him back. I really do. I think that he should have just hung it up, said my career with the Mariners was good. I want to be remembered as a Mariner. I think this is his opportunity to do that.
Yeah, Felix Hernandez, he was one of the big players that helped me. I won't say helped me, but a reason why I got back into baseball when I was in high school, just seeing him play, because there was a video, this hype video of like Felix Hernandez, and they have "Welcome to My House," and like it was such a great video, and I was like, man, like I miss getting into baseball. So that was like one of my early stages to go back into baseball, and like it sucks that someone of his caliber and his talent has been not part of some really good baseball teams to take him to the championship. But I really think that he's maybe I kind of agree with you in some sense, Michael. This is probably his last, like, you know what? I opted out. I think I'm going to retire. But maybe depends how the situation happens next year. And let's see if like, what if the Braves are like, you know what? We don't need you anymore. What if we're going to go a different direction? What if someone who needs that veteran pitcher like Astros did with Justin Verlander, we need that experienced pitcher to take us to the World Series and win a World Series for us. You just never know. So I think there is still some hope for him to finish his career and get a ring. But I think right now he's just going to take time and focus on himself and his family and focus on the next year for his future.
Yeah, I just feel like because going into the year he would have been coming out of the bullpen anyway, and I feel like that a big part of his career will obviously he was one of the most dominant starters of our decade. You know, he threw I don't know how many no hitters did he have? Like one or two, I think.
I think he had didn't he have a perfect game? I think he
Did
had
he
a
have a
perfect
perfect game?
game
I
and a
think
no
so.
hitter.
Yeah. Like you know, things like that. Like he's known for that type of stuff, and I just feel like it's in a way it's kind of good he opted out, just because like we want to remember him as a starter and how dominant he was. And I feel like by him opting out, it's kind of his way of saying like he might be done with the game of baseball unless he can return to pitching like 5 innings a night or something like that. But I don't see that happening for the time being, and I think it's a career for him.
Yeah.
For Felix, as Nikash just said, he was one of the greatest pitchers of the last decade. Terrific. And then he started to have arm issues and injuries that plagued his career. I thought it was going to be weird seeing him come out of the bullpen this year because everyone's used to him seeing him go 5-6 innings as a starter, and now seeing him go in for an inning, maybe 2 out of the bullpen. I don't know what that would be like, but I think this could be it for him unless he gets a contract. If he gets a contract in the next offseason, then he'll play. But if he doesn't get one, he'll hang it up, as he should. I thought he was actually going to retire after the Mariners said they were not going to re-sign him. But this is his chance. I understand why he's opting out. So we'll see what the future holds for him, but I'm thinking it's going to be most likely retirement.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing is that a guy like him who had such a promising career at the beginning of it. I mean, when we started off, when everything began in Felix Hernandez's career, I remember when I was younger and everyone said, like, who are the best pitchers in baseball? You know, people would ask you, who do you think's the best pitcher? And there would always be someone who said Felix Hernandez. You know, it would be Clayton Kershaw, Felix Hernandez. You know, those were the two guys, you know, and he never had the success that he needed being on the Mariners. They never made it to the playoffs and, well, never really contended in the playoffs. But it's a shame that a guy like that, that could very well be the story of Mike Trout's career once he's all done. You know, he never gets that ring, he never got that chance, and could have been really overshadowed by the team that he was on, which is just disappointing. But the last player on the Braves here that was a really big one that Ryan mentioned before was Nick Markakis. This was a very, very influential player on the team last year in their divisional win. They had themselves an incredible season last year, and overall, he had a solid season. He batted .285, and he was able to whip up a solid 9 home runs, but he did have 62 RBIs. Now, keep in mind, the season before, he batted .297, and a lot of those hits, I remember, because obviously the Mets saw him a lot last year. A lot of those hits came in RBI situations. He had one of the top runners on base batting averages, I believe. So he is a clutch hitter. He's a leader in the clubhouse, and everybody just loves Nick Markakis on that Braves team. Everybody looks up to him. They believe that he's that leader, you know, and to have that presence be gone, to have it be missing, could end up really being impactful for the Braves.
Yeah, like I said, this was what led them to sign Yasiel Puig because he's a big bat. I remember when he was in the AL, he would kill the Royals. So Markakis, he's not just a hitter, he's also a solid outfielder. He's a solid right fielder, plays well defensively. Like you said, Michael, one of the best hitters last year with runners in scoring position. He is really going to be a factor that is going to hurt the lineup because he brought a left-handed bat that Puig does not bring. But with him opting out that's the only reason the Braves really signed Yasiel Puig because they didn't need him until Markakis opted out. So this could be interesting because I'm pretty sure Markakis is on the final year of his deal as well.
Let me look that up.
I'll get on that.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to look it up, I would just say that it's understandable how Markakis is taking this decision because a lot of these guys are family people, like they're family guys, and they really care about them, especially like the one that affected me the most is obviously David Price opting out. But there's guys like Markakis who has a pre-existing condition, you know, and he can't control that. You know, he doesn't want to take that risk because if he gets it, if he gets this virus, because it affects everyone in different ways. He doesn't want to run the risk of like, hey, if I step on that diamond, that could be my last day, not just on the diamond, but my last day alive, like playing. So it's understandable and it's respectable knowing the circumstances the world is going through, and I respect his decision without a doubt.
Yeah, I respect all the players' decisions, and I did look it up. Marquez signed a 1-year deal for 2020, so he will be a free agent after this year. So that could hurt him. I don't think it'll have that big of an impact because someone will look into signing him for his bat, of course. But I'm pretty sure one of the things that really hurt the Braves to have him play was not having fans. I think that's going to affect a lot of players, not having fans, because that's part of the game is having those fans to be cheered with, and not to have the fans to be playing for and having in the stands. So that's something that I really think is going to hurt players. Also, I think people are forgetting that Freddie Freeman tested positive, so I think that also might have had an impact on him. So it just depends with what his decision was and what led into it. But anyways, I respect his decision because he's just looking out for his family, looking out for himself. So
yeah, I mean, overall, this will hurt the Braves in terms of like offensive production, but in terms of like momentum and adrenaline and all that, they got the right guy for it, and they replaced him with one of the best, most explosive players anyone can find in Yasiel Puig. And we just spent like a good part of like the beginning of the show, talking about
running the bases, Nikash.
The base. We just spent the bases.
Yeah.
We ran the bases discussing.
We ran first talking about how much of a good signing Puig was, and I just feel like that yes, it'll hurt them offensively, but like not in ways that we like defensively. He's one of the best. Like we said before, he can throw anyone out from anywhere. And I think Puig's is going to be a great like clubhouse guy to be around. And overall, the Braves will be fine. And hopefully they re-sign Marquez, because I feel like him in that lineup would just do wonders for Acuna and Freeman and guys like that.
yeah, definitely.
I think Puig is the player that we should be worried about the most in this 2020 season, because you guys know what he does at the plate almost every pitch. He licks his bat. So let's just hope he doesn't continue that, or if he does, let's hope he doesn't get infected with that.
Puig is one of those guys who just brings a ton of energy, which I think is contagious. He has a true love and passion for the game that I think really fuels him. I expect a lot out of him. And honestly, if he plays well this year, he could get re-signed by the Braves.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the other thing that I don't think many people are really thinking about is that this is the people that are opting out for this year are not getting paid. They're not getting a dime of their contract unless they have a pre-existing condition. So Nick Markakis won't be making any money this year, but his contract still finishes at the end of the year. So those people that are opting out, depending on how much money they have earned in their career, they could be taking a really big hit by not playing this year, which is why I think a lot of people are really, really struggling. I think if the money part wasn't a part of it, I think that if people were going to be making money regardless, I think you might see more people opting out. I think that there's just that group of people that say, I really need that money to keep my family healthy and happy and to get through, because I'm only making like $1 million this year compared to the 30 million guys. And we already are losing money because everyone else is unemployed. So that's the struggle that I think a lot of these players are going through right now, that they have to deal with that. Well, we have the decision of losing all of our money, but staying safe, or possibly risking getting sick and keeping all of the money that we need. So it's just a very interesting development that's got to be something that people really aren't talking much about, but I think that they should be. But the next thing that we've got here would be the St. Louis Cardinals with Jordan Hicks. This is a big one. With Jordan Hicks going down for the year, he decides to opt out because, as I mentioned before, he has that pre-existing condition of type 1 diabetes, and that means that he gets his pay for the year. So Jordan Hicks is one of those few people that, I mean, this could be for him, this is a no-brainer. I think for anybody that has the pre-existing condition, that has the excuse to they don't have to play the season, but they get paid, it's an excuse. Just stay safe. Stay home, watch your team on TV, and get your money while you're doing it. It's lucky and unlucky at the same time. So, but I think that Jordan Hicks was a big loss for the Cardinals. I don't remember when he was planning on coming back this year, but he was coming off Tommy John surgery, I'm pretty sure. And man, was that guy fun to watch last year when he was really good. He was so exciting. I remember seeing Jordan Hicks highlights like every day. Every day the guy pitched, you would see something on Instagram of his 102 or a dirty sinker that he would throw that would go from the guy's belt down to his toes. He's going to be really good for the future.
What's that noise?
Oh, sorry. There's construction going on in my house.
Wow, first construction. Well, first messages, now construction, man.
Okay, you know what? I don't need your harassment today. Okay.
I'm just kidding, Ryan. I love you.
Really?
But Jordan Hicks, he was one of those key pieces that the Cardinals needed for that push, because they really lost like someone, and Marcell Ozuna, they lost that power, that bat that they needed to help them like get a little bit forward in their postseason run if they were to go back to the postseason. And they can't really depend entirely on Paul Goldschmidt the whole entire way, And it just sucks that now if Paul Goldschmidt, he does have a really good year, now what pitching is going to back him up, So, and Jordan Hicks was just a really, really talented young guy. And like you said it, Michael, you said it, you couldn't have said it any better. He has that excuse. He decides to stay safe, and he's going to cheer on his team from the sidelines, and that's the proper decision to make. I respect it, and I know you guys respect it as well.
Yeah, with Hicks, I kind of expected it. It's looking out for your health, and I think that's what a lot of players have to do, because if you play and you get sick or something happens, it can affect the rest of your career, and I think that's smart for Hicks to do it. I'm excited to see him in the future. He's going to be really special. He showed that last year. So he made the best decision for himself. I respect him and any player who really makes the best decision for himself, his family, and his future.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's no point in rushing back for a 60-game season. Obviously, every season is important, but like in a season like this, with the circumstances that we're going through, it's just smart for him to just stay out of the completely. But it will hurt the Cardinals this year, especially the NL Central hasn't been this good in a long time. Like every team besides the Pirates, I feel like are contenders this year, especially the Reds and especially the Brewers. And the Cardinals will be looking to contend also with them. But losing Hicks will hurt them this season, but in the future, he'll be fine. He'll be back to normal.
Yeah, key player and key hit for the Cardinals, but obviously I think that for him it's really the right idea. The next guy here that we're going to talk about from the Arizona Diamondbacks would be Mike Leake. This is a big thing for him because he was brought onto the team last year and he just was getting started with his D-backs career. He's obviously towards the tail end of his career, but a pretty solid pitcher and could have made a big impact for that D-backs team that's trying to chase a wild card.
Yeah, I agree. And the NL West, obviously, it's one of the most it was one of the most competitive divisions in baseball a couple years back. But we saw how the Rockies, they went down. The Giants haven't been competitive at all. It was basically.
And then there's the Padres. There's nothing.
And there's the Padres. We're not even going to mention them. They're not even worth mentioning. The Diamondbacks, that they needed that push. They needed that. That's why they went to go out and get Madison Bumgarner, because they felt like, okay, we can't really win a division because the Dodgers are the best team in the NL West. Let's try to make it in the wild card. So now they lose a big arm in the rotation, and like also someone who can really come in the bullpen at a most random point whenever you need them at most. It's going to suck for them because now they're going to miss that opportunity to get into that postseason. Hopefully, if they do make it, it's awesome for them. But now they won't have that arm that they were depending on to maybe make it a push to the title. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
For Mike Leake, I find his situation interesting because, like Markakis, he's a free agent after this year, and he's given up a lot of money. So it's just something that I didn't expect Leake to opt out, especially because he's towards the tail end of his career. He He actually was solid for the Diamondbacks after he was traded there last year. I expect him to be a solid piece in their rotation. But like I said, you're going to respect their decisions. It's just this one's probably one of the more interesting cases for me.
Yeah, kind of. Obviously, like Felix Hernandez is like on another level compared to Mike Leake, but it kind of reminds me of the same situation. You know, both guys are towards the tail end of their careers. And it was kind of like a revamp season for Felix Hernandez and for Mike Leake. It was kind of just like one of those things where like he either chooses to play this year or decides to like give it like a rest or like maybe even retire after the year's over, because we saw his best years in Cincinnati and we won't get that version of him ever again probably. But overall, yeah, it will hurt the Diamondbacks, but not in ways like Jordan Hicks hurts the Cardinals.
Exactly. I don't think it has that big of an impact, but it's going to have a minor one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the D-backs, a funny thing came out the other day that I saw that their ownership said, yeah, we're here to win, and we're going to try and win the World Series this year, and that's what we think we're going to do. And I remember I saw that, and I laughed so hard because the D-backs they're a contention team. They can make it to the playoffs. But with who they've got, I mean, yes, they just picked up Starling Marte, but I don't think it changes the fact that I don't think they're a World Series team yet. I think they're a good 2 or 3 years out. What'd you say?
Cole Calhoun. He could be a solid DH guy for them.
That's true, but I don't think they'd throw him in the DH spot because he's an amazing defender. So I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting year for the D-backs, but I don't think we have to worry about them winning the World Series yet. But then we move over to a place that hits a little bit to home for Marco, David Price.
Before you do that, but like we mentioned it before, and like in a previous episode, that it's going to be a wild card race for everyone right from the get-go, because you never know basically who is going to be contending. You know, because people like the teams, yes, like summer camp is happening, but some teams are still not going to be able to get together and get the right chemistry. What if the Diamondbacks, they get the right chemistry at the beginning and they keep the whole entire way? Or what if they get hot at the right moment at the end? Right. We said it before. What if like a team goes bad for 2 weeks, and during those 2 weeks, the Diamondbacks go in first place of the NL West? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it could happen. You know, so I wouldn't say like you keep them out of contention, because at this point, everyone has a shot without a doubt, because one game can define your spot in the playoffs because of the shorter season. So I wouldn't count out the Diamondbacks at all.
What'd you say?
Excuse me. You can't count out the Diamondbacks. They showed a lot last year. When people thought they were going to have a completely down year after trading Goldschmidt, they nearly made the playoffs. This is a team that I think is scarier than people think, and I think they will get a wild card spot, especially after adding Starling Marte and adding depth to that outfield. This is a team that is going to be pretty good. I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the NL this year.
Yeah, they completely skipped the rebuild, in my opinion. I mean,
really
teams like yours, mine, like teams like ours, like we had to rebuild for 3 or 4 years to even like see like not double digit wins, but like triple digit wins.
I'm gonna have to correct you there, Nikash. It's like 30 years for the Royals to get back into the playoffs.
But you heard it here first. You heard it here first. I don't want to hear anything else. That's it. We're done. No more Royals bias. No, but like yeah, like the Diamondbacks completely skipped their rebuild, and I just feel like for them, like yeah, the NL West is very scary this year. It'll mostly be between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, which the Dodgers will probably come up on top. Like, yeah, congratulations, Marco, you win the division again.
Wow.
No, but yeah. Just the Diamondbacks, they skipped the rebuild completely, and for them, yeah, they'll be a team to watch this year for sure.
Nikash, can you say that again?
You guys won the division. Congratulations. When you signed Mookie Betts, you won the division. Yeah, congratulations.
Moving on. So we are.
And what are we going to talk about now?
Oh,
David
we're gonna save that maybe for later. We're gonna hop over. Fine, we'll just go down the list. Be nice and neat. We're gonna go to David Price of the Dodgers. A not necessarily big opt out for the year, but slightly. I mean, just brought over from the Red Sox and the Mookie Betts deal. So I mean, I would have been excited to watch him play. I wouldn't have had such high hopes for him, but I still think that it would have been fun to watch him at least go out there and pitch a little bit. Maybe not necessarily be an ace, but you never know what a guy can do in a season like this. He could end up being your Cy Young and ended up, having a .8 ERA when normally he has like an average of a 4. So you never know.
Well, I'll take this one, obviously, because it hits me most importantly, or most of all, obviously. Thank you, Ryan. I honestly, like a lot of Dodger fans, they were just saying, like, the big thing about that deal was Mookie Betts, obviously. But at the same time, that was such a great arm, an experienced arm that we could have used in the postseason or even in the World Series. I have to go back, even though it hurts. 2018, he destroyed us in the World Series. So it makes me, I don't want to say it makes me sad, but it makes me think, like, what if we made it to the World Series and we had that performance from David Price? Like, that performance could have won us the title. So that's the thing I'm concerned about. But he's going to come back next year. He's already said, like, he's looking forward to next season. And like we said, he's a family guy and he's going to respect, he's going to support his team from the outside and just focus on himself and his family because he doesn't want to run take any risk. But yeah, it's gonna be a season that we're gonna be like, if we made it to the World Series, what if David Price was in our rotation? What if we could have won the series earlier if we do win the title? What if we could have swept our opponent if David Price was there? But Dodgers are going to be in a good shape. They have some really great arms. Obviously, Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, obviously the guy who may win the Cy Young now because maybe DeGrom is not going to be playing tip-top shape. And they also still have Julio Urias, who has been in the bullpen in and out almost every single season. This is going to be his big year to get his break. At the same time, they have Alex Wood coming back after he got traded to the Reds, and he had a good season before he got traded. So I think it's basically like the original lineup when the Dodgers made that push in 2017. So I feel really good about it. And David Price is going to be really missed, but I think we're in a pretty good shape, and I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, it won't hurt you guys at all, to say the least.
I love how you're talking to me like if I was like the Dodgers representative. That feels so good.
Yeah, you're fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you're fine. You guys are gonna be fine. I'm like, oh, thank you, man. Like, yeah.
If you guys give up 6 runs in an inning, you could get it all back in the same inning. You could get 8 in an inning, and it wouldn't matter. It's kind of like the Mike Leake kind of a thing, where, like, obviously I'm not comparing the two at all. I'm just comparing to where they are in their careers. And then David Price isn't obviously what he used to be in Tampa. We've seen how he struggled mightily throughout the entire season. So, yeah, like I said, this won't hurt Marco or the Dodgers at all, and they'll be just fine.
Well, it's never going to just hurt Marco, of course. Before we get to Ryan, I just wanted to, going off what Marco said a little bit, this is going to be a season of what-ifs. I said it last episode, or someone said it last episode. I think it was Ryan. This is
what-ifs.
Yeah, it's a season of what-ifs, and like Marco said, it's what if David Price was healthy this year? What if, what happens if the Dodgers lose the World Series again? What if David Price, doesn't get – what if David Price is there? So you never know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan. It just came to my head. It's sad how the Mets have a season of what-ifs every single year. What if Yohan Cespedes was healthy? Every single year.
That's a good point, to be fair.
That's a good point. Anyways, go ahead, Ryan.
So for David Price, he was one of the guys I actually expected to opt out. He's got young kids, and he's had some health issues in the past, so I actually expect him to opt out. But I think it sucks for the Dodgers because they took on that big contract to make sure they landed Mookie Betts, but they have him for a couple more years afterwards, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But it would have been nice to have that veteran arm for them, especially a guy who whooped them in 2018 in the World Series. But I think it's going to have a minor effect on them. They've got a ton of talent pitching-wise, and I think, like Marco said, Julio Urias is going to have his chance to really shine this year.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Any day. We'll just support the Dodgers every day.
We will never support the Mets, though.
Yes, well, I already knew that. So, moving along from the Dodgers, the clear NL West winners, as always. Move over to their.
Bro, stop hating.
I'm not hating. I won't. I'll accept you guys as a great team when you win the World Series. It's
So
just
what?
how it
So what
goes.
was the Mets?
It's the same way. They're not a godly team until they win the World Series. It's just
None of our teams are good. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna share a quick story about the Mets. So I have my Mets for from ESPN. Really good friend of mine, Phil Murphy. He's a Mets fan too. And there was like that era or like that time that everyone was like making their like their face change like if they were older.
Yeah.
So his caption on that picture was basically 40 years later. He was like,
Mets still haven't won a World Series.
Still waiting for the Mets to win a World Series.
Yikes! Yeah, I did that too. To be fair,
Makes sense.
I actually think I did the exact same thing. But we move on.
With him.
What'd you say?
I should connect you with him then.
You should. I completely agree. But moving along to the other NL West team here, that is the Giants. This one was not that much of a surprise, but it's definitely a big player dropping out, which is Buster Posey. A sad thing to see him drop out for the season, as Nick is beautifully displaying. I think Buster Posey is one of those guys that just everyone likes. He's like Mike Trout. Everyone likes Buster Posey.
I actually do not like Buster Posey.
What I hate you. You're the.
I just want to see your reaction.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I really like Buster Posey.
Well, again, like I said, who doesn't? It's like people saying they don't like Mike Trout. Like, who doesn't? But yeah, Buster's at the end of his career. Well, not the end of his career. He's at the end of the good part of his career. He's really reached the pinnacle. Pinnacle. Yeah, that's the right word. He had his back problems, which made him. I think Marco doesn't like Buster Posey.
I mean,
he did beat the Royals in 2014, but I still like him.
He beat us in 2012.
He beat us in 2016.
Michael, when you said Buster's reaching the end, I thought you were talking about a dog dying.
Buster only.
Dog dying.
Buster only. Oh my!
Just saying.
I like Buster Posey because he's never actually beat us in a World Series or anything like that, so I can't complain.
You can't.
I know, that's why. Like, I don't hate him. That's why I don't hate him. Because I don't hate him. Obviously, I'm mad because they've won 3 championships in 6 years.
Oh, we didn't do our team of the decade thing that I wanted to talk about.
We did.
No, we didn't.
No, we never did.
You know how I remember? Because I said the Red Sox.
But Marco, I think it might have been you and me. We might have done a podcast, just you and I, before the 4 of us came together.
It was our tryout episode, and Nikash wasn't there.
All right.
Oh, that's right.
All right.
Who's fucked in?
So Nikash,
All right.
So Nikash was the one that has a
Who hasn't missed one since?
1,000
I've
times.
missed one since.
There.
Michael can confirm I've missed one since.
I believe you're right.
If you missed another, you get kicked off.
I think you. Yeah. No, you're right. You haven't missed one
attendance
since.
here.
I did tell him. I said, "Look, this is a big blow here." He said, this can't happen again," and it hasn't. So I give him props. I mean, he was the first one here today when he said he was going to be late. So that's just
With a Royals on-field reporter. I'm sorry.
Did anyone ask?
Yeah, seriously. So much
Anyone.
He was trying to say how great you are. I'm sorry I was late. I was having a very important call. What's your excuse, Marco?
Okay, so I was actually on the phone with my mom, and then like I have the group chat on silent, and I looked at the time. I was like, "Oh crap, I need to go to the show." So,
Oh my
that's
god,
my
that's amazing!
I got distracted from calling my mom. Okay, my
Are
bad.
you a mama's boy?
Oh yeah,
I respect it. I respect it.
my mama's the best, bro. Mama's number 1.
Oh man, where have we gone to today? This is
back to Buster Posey.
Buster Posey, good guy.
Stop.
Got slaughtered at home plate. overall, really good guy. Great for the game. Led to a lot of rule changes.
we were going to positive something. He got clobbered at home plate, man. Positive. Like he won the World Series, he's the MVP, and he's won Rookie of the Year. Not he got clobbered at home plate.
He got slaughtered at the plate.
Yeah,
butcher.
Let's be real. When you think of Buster Posey, the first thing you think of is him getting run over at home plate. It's just
that's not me.
Okay, fine. Well, I guess it's just me then. But
you're so
and you're asking who doesn't like Buster Posey, and the first
I love Buster Posey.
Oh, he got slaughtered at home plate.
Hey, to be fair, I guarantee you that a majority of baseball fans will say that's the first thing they think of when they think of Buster Posey.
I'll
fans.
ask my sister right now and see what she says.
Okay. But he's been having injury problems. He's been having back issues. I remember when he was playing against the Mets like 2 years ago, he grounded and he hit a soft grounder and he didn't even make it halfway down the line. That's just basically what he's been. You know, he can't really run anymore and he's just taken a beating. And it really all started when he got hit at home plate because that was when he had that first injury. And it seems like ever since then, he's just been injury plagued.
He's had injuries since then.
Yeah. So that was really where I was going with that. But
that's awful. He got slaughtered. What is he, a pig at the butcher house?
My gosh. If I ever meet Buster Posey, since I come to the Bay Area a lot, I'll be like, hey, bro, what do you think people think about you? What do you think people think about you when they see you? Oh, no, I won 3 World Series, Rookie of the Year, MVP. You know what my friend thinks about you? You got slaughtered, bro. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Well, when I think of him, I just think of how dominant of a catcher he was in the NL. Obviously, like him and Yadier Molina, they ran.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on.
Props here, Nikash. Offensive, gosh.
Oh, I'm the offensive one.
Yeah, really.
You dragged Marco for no reason.
That's very true.
What?
You dragged Marco for no reason.
Okay, but
I'm still spitting sand, bro. Damn.
No, but back to Buster Posey.
Now,
Him and Yadier Molina, like they ran that position for so many years in the NL, and like obviously, like congratulations to go out to them. They are adopting 2 twins from I think China, and it just shows you like how much of a family guy he is. He's putting his family first in the situation, and hopefully next year we get to see a little bit more of him. I would be real sad. It would be really sad to see him retire after this year, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be part of that Giants culture for a couple more years.
I don't think he'll retire either.
Yeah.
That's my thing about Buster Posey. He's a terrific guy, and I completely respect his decision, especially with his injury history. I think he's had some health history as well. If I'm not mistaken.
Why? Because he got slaughtered at home plate?
No, I didn't say that. But no, I really like him. It sucks that you're not going to be able to see him this year, but definitely, I think he'll be back next year. He's still a solid catcher. So, and I gotta respect his decision, especially for him adopting 2 twins. I give him credit for dealing with twins, considering I am one. Did you not know I'm a twin, Marco?
No, take that off. Take that off.
Did your dad get slaughtered at home plate?
Yeah.
No. Oh, we're done. We'll never have careers ever again. We're done.
This is my. This is going to be
Michael,
the
your
new.
career's over before it started.
Hey, for the record, again, I made up for it by explaining what I meant because he got hurt with that, and that led to his string of injuries.
First, you make me feel like a dog's dying by saying Buster's at the end. Then you say he gets slaughtered at the plate. God.
It's nice because
Man, you're just attacking animals today. I thought a pig was getting slaughtered. Gosh. Are you an animal cruelist?
I don't think we touch that. Don't touch that.
Yeah, seriously. God, where are we going today?
Yes.
We're going very deep down this rabbit hole. So let's move on to the Nationals. Huh?
Let's jump out of this rabbit hole real quick.
Yes, I agree.
He just said that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I don't need you commenting on everything I say.
It's okay. I took care of. No, I muted him. I muted him. I took care of that problem.
You know what?
Okay.
Y'all are jokes. Y'all are jokes.
Welcome back. Okay, so we're trying to move on from the rabbit hole here. We're getting over to the Nationals. Oh, I need some water, and I don't have any up here. But the Nationals. What? Am I parched? I'm thirsty for water.
Parched is.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm parched. We're trying to move on here. I just
try to get some blood from Buster Posey being slaughtered at home plate.
Wow, this is really taking off. So the Nationals, they've had 3 guys that have opted out of the season. So the defending champs really are put in a bad spot. All around, this really could slaughter their season. Think about it.
What is your deal with slaughtering today?
Hey, I just said it because it's the recurring joke now. Let's be real. So this could really hurt their season, though. To be in all reality, this really could impact their season because they have Joe Ross, Ryan Zimmerman, and Wellington Castillo all down. Joe Ross, not necessarily the biggest player out of these guys, but still could be an impactful guy. He's a man in that rotation. He could end up being the difference between a few games being won and a few games being lost. You never know. So you've then got Ryan Zimmerman, who's the leader in that clubhouse, obviously re-signed to I think it was just a 1-year contract. So he re-signed. Huh?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay.
They lost Anthony Rendon too.
Right. Yes, exactly. Lost Anthony Rendon. Ryan, you're talking over me a lot. Are we going to have to mute you again?
Hey, he said Anthony Rendon. I just said overpaid. I just gave my opinion.
Oh, my.
I think that's going to be a soundbite that we need from here on out. Michael's, huh?
That is, I have been doing that a lot today. I did notice that. I'll try and change it up next time. Maybe
you got slaughtered, huh?
Oh my! We're just trying to move along here, and we're just
trying
bumps in the road. So Zimmerman, like I said, leader in the clubhouse. A tough loss for the team overall. I don't think he would have played too much, but still, that's a presence that they really needed. Then Wellington Castillo would have been really one of their backup catchers with Yan Gomes. Yan Gomes is still on the team because they re-signed him, but Wellington Castillo will be really that big backup. And to not have him there, that's a backup catcher that you lose, and that's always an opportunity to have. You're going to have to sub out for your catcher once or twice a week. And having a guy that is experienced back there is a lot better than having someone who you really don't necessarily know how they're going to perform. So I think that Wellington Castillo might be probably one of the more big losses out here. Oh, where did Ryan go? I think we lost him. I think we lost Ryan. He
got slaughtered.
Yeah,
still here.
Oh, he just left. He muted himself. He's clearly doing something. He has not been slaughtered.
You can't get rid of me that easy, boys.
There's just a bubble talking.
It's just the bubbles like woo, woo. Every time he speaks, he's blowing the whistle. He said he would do that. So I want to hear what your guys' takes are on this while I go grab a drink of water.
We're talking about the Nationals?
Off, gentlemen. The Nationals are not in a good spot. I'm just going to say it that way.
Ryan, I can't take you serious, man.
The Nationals are not in a good spot. When you think of the Nationals, in their history. You think of Ryan Zimmerman. Without him, it's going to be a loss because he was probably going to be more of the DH this year, especially with the universal DH. But just that veteran leadership and the culture that he brings, that's going to hurt them. They still got a great pitching rotation, great pitching staff. They are just going to struggle with their infield and their hitting a little bit. They still got Juan Soto, who's a terrific player, but I think they're going to struggle, and there's going to be some setbacks with the losses of both Zimmerman and Wellington Castillo.
Yeah, they're not.
Soto's overrated.
Wait, what did you say?
See, I was going to say the opposite.
Wait, hold on. What did you say?
He said that Juan Soto was overrated.
Wrong.
Oh, okay. Well,
He was good last year, but I want to see how good he is this year to say if he's
going to play an even bigger role this year without Rendon.
yeah, that's the thing.
That's right.
Like, obviously, the Nationals aren't in position to contend again. They're not going to repeat as champions. We can safely say that. The division will be up for grabs between the Mets and the Braves.
Mets?
Oh yeah, right on time. No, but yeah, like Ryan, like the bubble said, Juan Soto will have to play. He'll have a bigger role this year than any other year he'll ever have. It'll be his team, obviously, without Ryan Zimmerman, without Anthony Rendon. And I just feel like he will be not a sleeper, but he will be someone to look out for like a home run. And you guys all left me. Okay. He will be someone to look out for the home run title. Maybe creep up there in terms of RBIs. If the Nationals can get guys on base, and I'm all alone again.
We're going to make you the star.
Yeah. Oh, but that's all I have to say is that the Nationals aren't in a good position, and they're not going to be nearing the playoffs at all this year.
Is it just me now? It's just me. So this is great. It's just me. Welcome to the show.
fun, Michael.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Michael Garaffa. I'm by myself, like the OG days. But
Okay, all right. You'll be like that then, huh?
Yeah. Oh, Buster!
Buster!
Oh, Buster! He didn't get slaughtered.
Ryan, what is your purpose?
He has that face that says, "Michael, don't slaughter me."
He's going to blow the whistle in a minute.
Oh no, it's around his neck.
Well, don't share the whistle with him.
He's not going to get corona.
That's just gross.
I'm not worried
Like
about that.
in general.
He's not going to blow the whistle.
I'm so confused. Moving on. So
Are we done?
No, there's two more players that I want to talk about. We've got the Colorado Rockies.
I'm tired of talking to you guys. Can we end this? I'm kidding. I'm just tired of talking to Michael.
Wow. Okay. Well, we can mute you again if you don't want to talk to me.
It's just because you're a Mets fan.
Well, I already knew that. You guys are Metsist.
This isn't true. We're biasists.
Biasists? Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. So the Colorado Rockies, we've got Ian Desmond. He was the one who opted out from the Rockies. And this is a guy who, peace. This is the guy who everyone had high hopes for him. He had a really solid season going into his free agent year. He was able to land a solid contract with the Rockies. And when he was able to do that, I think a lot of people thought that he could be the big bat in that lineup with the Rockies, and he didn't really produce as well as we thought he would. That was a team that picked up Ian Desmond and Daniel Murphy in the same offseason, and both of them didn't really produce the way that we hoped that they would. So I'm feeling for Ian Desmond that this is an opportunity maybe for him to recollect himself, say, let me start off 2021 and be my best self, be the best player that I can be, the player that the Rockies and other teams are hoping that I could be in. I think this is a big opportunity for him. He's really one of the only people that I could look at and say this is an opportunity for him, not really a bad thing. He needs this time to collect himself and get back to that player that we know he can be.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the Rockies because obviously they have declined a whole lot Charlie Blackmon has not won the batting title ever since he won it back in 2017, I think it was. And like ever since that season when they went into that wild card against the Diamondbacks, they just went down, 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 and they're still declining. So Ian Desmond, I think it's a really good time for him to just recover and focus on himself. And if he can make something big when he comes back, that will be good. But I'm not worried about the Rockies at all.
With
The Rockies are one of those situations where, well, I can't see you. I don't know you're talking. So the Rockies are one of those situations where they had such potential and they just really let it slip to the wayside. And that was such
potential.
Yeah. I mean, come on. So
wait. I'm gonna do it like Michael. Such potential.
It's like an ASMR video. You're just like you're just up there, just like you're just.
All right, bro.
Potential. They really did, though. They had a lot of potential, and they had a lot of great guys. They had some people that could make impacts, and I think a lot of people were really disappointed to see that the Rockies didn't really pan out. Their only good season was when they made it to the wild card game, only to get beaten by the Diamondbacks. Don't anyone even say it. They got beaten by the Diamondbacks.
Slaughtered.
I'm never going to live that down. They got beaten by the Diamondbacks, and it was too bad because that was really just the end of the golden days. So now, Ryan, you said you were saying something, but what we've been doing here is you've been showing your screen when you do it.
Okay, I'm back. So here's the thing. The Rockies have the best third baseman in the entire MLB. There's no argument against that. But losing Ian Desmond is going to have an effect. He's a solid bat. I think this is a good year for him to finally collect himself and finally get back to where he was. He slipped a little bit. This could be a good recuperation for him. I expect that he'll bounce back and try to get back to where he was. But the Rockies, they've fallen apart. I feel like they have the chance to get back to where they were this year, and it wouldn't shock me if they were a sleeper team that made it in the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll be fine. Like Ryan said, they have the best third baseman in the league and for years to come. And I don't know if they're in a position to contend this year. Like I don't know. The NL West is a very competitive division. Well, obviously the Dodgers have it locked, and the Diamondbacks might make the wild card. So it'll be like one of those staggering years to the Rockies. I feel like the Rockies are always like average. Whenever I think of the Rockies, I always think average. You know, that's how they were with Troy Tulowitzki, Carlos Gonzalez, and even they're wasting Nolan Arenado's prime right now. And I just feel like, this will be one of those years where they'll maybe go like 20, they'll win 28 games, something like that, something subpar. Not much to expect from the Rockies, but yeah, just not a good year for them in general.
And it's disappointing because they are just one of those teams that you want to see win. I mean, when they had all those years with Matt Holliday, Todd Hilton, Carlos Gonzalez, that was a really stacked team, and they didn't win as much as they really should have. And I think that really made a lot of baseball fans say, I feel bad for these guys. I think it's one of those teams you kind of hope that they'll do good. It's like seeing, like, everyone wants to see the Angels win. I don't think there's anyone other than Marco who probably wants to see the Angels win. I think everyone just wants to see them do well and see them thrive because they earned it, So I think from that perspective, it's an opportunity for the Rockies just to kind of, like I said with Ian Desmond, just reset. But the last person on here that I want to discuss actually blows my Rookie of the Year prediction out of the water for the American League. That's Michael Kopech from the White Sox. He was my Rookie of the Year prediction, and he is now opting out of the year. So I guess I'm gonna have to. That does lead to new Rookie of the Year predictions. I guess we can do new predictions next week. But Michael Kopech, such a bright future. I don't think this kills him too much to miss this season. It's a 60-game season. I understand where he's coming from. You don't want to start your career on a 60-game season. I mean, it makes you wonder whether, if you do good, you wonder, well, is that going to live up for the rest of my career? Am I going to do good forever? Because this is just a 60-game. And if you do bad, you can't really look at it and say you did poorly, but other people might say he's bad because of his stats, but it's just not a season that you want to start your career on. So I do understand where he's coming from for this.
Yeah, same. I mean, like rookies in general, like it'll be interesting to see if any rookies like follow his path and decide to opt out also. Because they don't get that full experience. They don't get the 162 games as opposed to 60 games, and you wonder if like it'll leave kind of an asterisk around that type of like award per se. But for him next year, he'll be one of the most sought after prospects, and I feel like the White Sox have something really good in the works right now, and they'll be good for years to come, especially with their farm system and with their top prospects.
The other thing, I guess we have 2 mutes over there. So
Yeah.
the other thing that I don't think we are really realizing here is that these guys, he might have finished the season and won Rookie of the Year, but still be considered a rookie for next year. Because this is a shortened season, he might not have reached those 50 innings that he needed to be labeled not a rookie. So, or it'll be 45 days on the active roster. So, what if he gets hurt and can't play? This could be a season where we see the person that wins Rookie of the Year and then wins it again next year, which we're going to have to wait and see what they do if that's possible, because you might have someone finishing the year this year as the Rookie of the Year and then go into next year and are still labeled a rookie. So that's something that I don't think really Rob Manfred and the MLB executives thought about. And I mean, they might have, but I don't think so. So I don't know. That'll be a unique thing to discuss. But we still got Marco and Ryan who've got to talk about Michael Kopech.
Honestly, Kopech, major heat. He can throw. He's got a great arm. He's had a couple Tommy John surgeries, if I remember correctly. So I think that him sitting out might be able to help him even recover more. It might be good for him, and I don't think it's going to affect him at all, because he'll still go in, and I think he'll still be a solid piece for the White Sox in the future, regardless that he's sitting out this year, because maybe he's doing it to recover more and be ready to be his best in the upcoming seasons.
All I got to say is, even though all y'all are going to leave me right now a little bit, is basically how I'm not worried about it, because the guy has so much potential, so not worried about it. Shortened season. If he wins it, he wins it. If he wins it next year as well. When is that going to ever happen in baseball history again? Who knows? It might never. It might happen down the road. But if he wins it this year and next year, he's going down as history, as one of a kind. If he has a really great season after that, that's good for him. If he doesn't, he can still say, I won back-to-back Rookie of the Year. That's all I'm thinking about.
So, yeah. Cool.
It's just us.
I'm back, boys. You guys can't get rid of me.
Oh, man.
Ryan, you still got to talk about it, by the way. Oh,
No,
no.
he already did.
You did, yeah.
Are you dumb or stupid or dumb?
Did you slaughter your ears?
Yeah, bro. I actually had to watch. I watched a short little clip to see something, and I actually did. I have to cut the audio. So, yeah, I did.
Okay.
I had to
all right.
slaughter my hearings.
So I guess we're good. We can close out the show.
Yeah. This is a fun one. I'm thinking that
We slaughtered it.
we really did. We killed it. We have next week. I'm hoping that we can start doing every Tuesday, because I am supposed to be off on Tuesdays. So I think Tuesday could be our best bet. What'd you say, Ryan?
Okay.
Huh?
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 Huh? So
Hey, can I just say something?
yes.
Please.
Yes.
What?
Huh?
Huh?
You guys don't believe me. I've been testing you guys to see if you know. I've been switching glasses like every 5 minutes.
I mean, I saw you keep going like this, but I mean,
I wanted you guys to realize.
but we didn't.
Huh?
Do
The
it.
AirPod.
Anyways, let's close this thing out and we'll talk after it.
Let's wrap this thing up. So it was a good episode today. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. There's nobody watching right now, but there were people who watched during the show. I'm really happy. We had about you can't see everyone who's watched, but we did have about We had a max of 2 at one point.
Yeah.
So we were getting in there, but we had a
promote it more.
Let's just say from here on out, let's make our shows like more professional and actually stick to talking to baseball.
Hey, it all went downhill when he started proposing and being slaughtered.
Yeah,
I agree. Correct. 100%.
Now, all right.
We can agree. So I think this is a good episode, though. Nonetheless, it was fun. We enjoyed it. We got the stuff. We got to talk about the opt-outs, which I did want to do. We'll cover any other opt-outs that happen in the next week in next podcast. So,
and you know what? We'll be doing new predictions.
We will be. We're going to do new predictions. I don't remember. I got to see if I can find my old predictions to make new ones.
Is Alonso winning MVP in the NL?
I didn't say he was winning MVP in the first place, but
you didn't say it, but you thought it.
DeGrom MVP and Cy Young.
No,
and batting title,
is winning
and
the
Hank Aaron Award, and Rookie of the Year, and Golden Glove,
Silver Slugger.
Yeah,
so much potential.
So much potential.
So much potential.
So much.
He's gonna slaughter everyone.
Everyone's just slaughtering me today. I mean, I don't get it.
What if we want to?
We slaughter the Mets today.
You know why? It's because everyone is they're just scared for what we have in store.
Oh, I
am not.
They're scared. They're scared. They're scared.
You guys have had it.
Tigers.
You guys have had so many people in store. You guys can't make anything happen. You haven't been storing the hospital. That's what it is.
You'll be lucky if Cespedes plays 15 games.
Who? What?
You'll be lucky if Cespedes plays 15 games.
I say he goes a full season. I'm going for it.
I'll bet you on that right now.
Oh my! This guy has a gambling addiction.
Well, we already knew that.
It's okay, me too.
Don't drag me to the mud.
We're not. I'm not.
We don't support sports gambling.
Close it.
We're closing it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you all next week. We hope to see you back here right here next week, where the 4 of us hopefully will be back on Tuesday. We look forward to seeing you then. Take care, guys.
We love you all.